Andy for Last Bell Boxing down at Shinfield's Gym, joined by absolute legend, Randell Munroe. How are you, mate?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Yourself?
Yeah, very good, very good. You've got your own gym down in Leicester, but this is your old stomping ground. So, what's it like being back here?
Oh, it's nice. You know what I mean? Obviously, like I say, I brought obviously my fighter down. He's brought his partner with him, and they're just looking around at a few photos of, you know what I mean, where it all started. So yeah, sometimes it's nice. You know what I mean? And I think sometimes give them a bit of motivation as well. The fighters, the motivation, because it shows that, you know what I mean, this is where I came from. This is where we got to, and it takes a bit of hard work, and you can do it if you try.
Absolute stellar career, Randell. Did it the hard way as well. It's tough, innit, in these gyms coming through the small halls, trying to get onto that next level. What sort of advice are you giving Sean to because he's looking at going to big places. He's seen what you've done and he wants to aim there himself. What sort of advice you give him about getting to them levels?
So basically, it's the opportunities knocks right now. Do you know what I mean? So I always say to him, look, we need to be 50-50 ready to go. Do you know what I mean? So it's on that case of what fights we get. We go out there, we show what we got, we show what the abilities we got, we show the change of styles, and sometimes even like personality. You know what I mean? As we look at it now, the likes of boxing now is all about social media. So if you've got a good personality to go alongside your good boxing, it works. So, but I just say to him, look, we need to be ready for the opportunity. Do you know what I mean?
Seems to be on these big shows that it's not just about your boxing ability. You just said it there. It's about what tickets you can sell.
Yeah, that's it. And if I'm honest, it's been like that for a while, but it's getting even worse. Do you know what I mean? And I think like for my era of boxing, social media was about, but it wasn't as much as it is about now. Do you know what I mean? So I think it adds something more of a challenge to the fighters now. So you've got to train hard, you've got to fight well, and you've got to build up your popularity on social media, which is the way the world's going, isn't it? So you know what I mean? With Sean, I keep saying to him, look, we can only do what we've got to do. I'm a believer that the man upstairs is everything for a reason, and your opportunity will come. And when it comes, we just got to be ready for it.
Sean's back out on the 1st of November. Athena, 1st of October. Athena Arena, Cold Show.
Yeah.
That was his last fight, same place.
Yeah.
What are you doing differently this time out? Obviously, you're trying to progress all the time.
Yeah. So basically, the last time we said when we had come off the last fight, what I said to him is, look, obviously he uses my strength and conditioning coach Harry Singh, obviously from when I was fighting, and I says, look, I want him to get that bit stronger. So we had a period where he was just in the gym doing strength work stuff, and then like you say, for Sean's a bit like myself, who's naturally fit. Obviously, everything's 110% all the time. So we've windowed it down to a bit of a 6-week training camp this time round, and obviously, as you can see today, he looks sharp and he looks ready to go, and we've still got another 2 weeks. So it's kind of, I think it's learning about what abilities the fighter's got, what do we need to do, how do we need to go with it, where do we need to go with it. And I think from the last fight, we showed that his boxing ability is very good, he's very sharp. I just need a little bit of strength to go with it, do you know what I mean? So yeah.
The other thing that a lot of fight fans won't realise is small hall shows opponents can change rapidly. I made the mistake of looking on BoxRec, thinking he's fighting a Nicaraguan fighter. That's now changed again.
Yeah. Like you say, basically we was in for a 6-rounder against the last opponent. Colgreaves phoned us up and says, "Oh, sorry lads, but the opponent's been pulled out. We've got to find you someone else." The downside to it is like how boxing is now. Everything comes down to the money. And he wants to do a 4-rounder. He said, "I don't want to do a 6-rounder with Sean." So he wants to collect 6-round money but do a 4-round fight, and it is what it is. But like I said to Sean, sometimes as it goes, and I think what his abilities show, that for me it's kind of one of them where I'll go that, all right, then he wants 6 rounds. What happens if we do him in 1? So we still only, do you know what I mean? So sometimes it's like, it is what it is. Let's take it as it comes, and I would say keep working with it. Don't take nothing negative from where we're going. Every fight is learning, no matter who it is. We go out there and we do something new, ready for, because like I keep saying, the opportunity will come in the way that boxing is now. Sometimes, like you say, opponents fall out. So there could be a guy up there who's, I don't know, defending his English title. The opponent's dropped out. Boom, who's on the thing? Sean Bruce is around. Is he fit? Ring up. Yeah, we're fit. Let's get into it. You know what I mean? We're halfway there. We've got 2 weeks to get ready. And sometimes they're the opportunities what come, and it puts you straight in the line of big fights.
Sean's currently 3-0, and he's just told me he puts that all down to you, the fact that he's even in the pro game. You see, he said you took him on the pad. You saw something in him. From your experience, is that easy to spot in a fighter?
Um, yeah, sometimes you can see what fighter's about. You know what I mean? It's little. Sometimes it's like looking a little bit deeper into it. Do you know what I mean? Like I say, when Sean first came in the gym, he to be fair, he rang me up and says, we have a little move around with me. I'm doing one of these unlicensed fights. So straight away after he had a little move around, I said to him I said, Sean, there's something about you, And he's gone, do you think so? And then obviously he went away, had his fight, come back. And then he says, I've got another fight. Would you train me for it? So I'm like, yeah, it is. You know what I mean? I always find that when you find someone who's willing to come out of their way to talk to you. So we started doing a bit of pad work and things like that. And I said to him after, I says, look, Sean, if I'm going to be honest, I think this unlicensed scene is not for you. Let's get this one out of the way and let's turn pro, because I think you've got the abilities to go out there and win big things at the right weight. And so we've just gone from there. And obviously, like you say, the journey's moving. Soon to be 4-0. And like I say, I've said to him, I always say sometimes, you don't blow smoke before the fire's lit, but I think Sean's got the abilities to go up there to the top. Do you know what I mean? When you look at, how he moves, how he is. Obviously, we sparred with a lad not too long ago. He went down London. He took himself down London to spar with a lad down there who was, I think he was fighting for the IBA European title, something like that. And I think they were shocked that Sean's only had 2 at the time. And even they said, look, there's something about him. So, like I say, we just don't rush things. We just do it as it goes. I think for me, it showed that sometimes there is a learning curve on the way, and each fight you take as a learning. Don't jump too quick too soon. Do you know what I mean? I'm one of these, like I'll say to Sean, look, if someone comes to us now and says, look, we've got an opportunity for a British title fight, I'd say no, let's not yet. But if someone comes and says we've got an opportunity for a Midlands or an English, are we ready? Let's go in there. Do you know what I mean? I think sometimes the way boxing is now, you can take that step too far and end up at the bottom of the ladder again, rather than taking that little step and going, look, we're good enough to turn around and say no and take the smaller step, because once we're up there, we're staying there. We're not going there for a little bit. We're going up there to stay there for a long time.
If you're not picked by one of these big promoters, like you come off of a GB talent, or you're a talent coming through one of the gyms that they use all the time, it's much more difficult for your gym, for Shinfield's, any of the small gyms, to get their talent up to that level into them shows. Is it a case of having to win titles to get on one of those shows in the first place?
I don't know if it's actually win titles. I think it's just a case of go out there and keep proving yourself. Get people talking. Do you know what I mean? That's one of the things I always say to Sean. If people talk, the opportunity will come. And the thing is as crazy as it is now, these top boys, as they call them on the top shows and with the top promoters, they don't want to put somebody in front of them what looks like it's going to be a bit of a tough fight. So what they'll do is they'll get someone at the last minute. You know what I mean? Oh, yeah, he's a bit of a name. 6-0. All right, then. Yeah, let's get him in. Let's offer him this amount of money, because he'll take the money, but even though he ain't ready for the fight. Whereas for me, as the experience will go, it's not the money we want. The titles bring the money. So
Back to the interview with Randell. Nightmare with the battery there, mate. Sorry about that.
No worries.
So we was just talking about Bruce's weight and Sean's weight, and how it can perhaps get down to possibly even fly. Do you see that's his best weight? Because he'd be big at that, wouldn't he?
Yeah, oh man, like you say, obviously we don't struggle at flyweight, so why not? Do you know what I mean? But like I keep saying, for us, it's the opportunity of fly, super fly. We just get to where we need to get to, and then, like you say, sometimes it's about being realistic, because you kind of look at at the super fly, the lads are big. As you go up the levels, higher levels, the lads are big. At the lower weight, which Sean can make, Sean will be the big lad. So sometimes it's that, let's look into it. Do you know what I mean? Let's do it right. Let's do it the right way. And I think Sean believes in what I say as a trainer. Do you know what I mean? Let's do the right steps at the right time. Do you know what I mean? Let's not jump into it. Someone's offering us 6-7 grand for a fight. Why do we need 6-7 grand? We go to work. Let's go start it and go the right way about it.
Moving on from Sean for a minute. Talk to me a little bit about your gym. Do you think you finished your pro career 2014? Is that right? 2013. Did you go straight in as a coach after that, or did you take a bit of time to figure out what you were going to do?
I started getting into bodybuilding, so I put loads of weight on, and I was like, yeah, I'm enjoying this. And then one lad come into the gym one time, says, "Oh, I got a fight. We help me do some rounds." I did one round, I'm blowing. Like, what's going on here? So it was like that was the point for me where it was like, "Oh, I'll do this." And then I used to hang about the gym where I was, my strength, and then someone just said to me, "Why don't you open your own little studio type of thing?" So I did that, and then more people started coming, and then Joe Ducker, who was originally here as well, one time he came to me and says, "Oh, will you take your license?" And I says, "Look, my problem is I don't want to take my license if I have to stop sparring because I love sparring." So he said to me, "All right then, Randell, go to the meeting with the board. If the board say you have to stop sparring, then I understand you won't take your license. If they say you can spar and still take your license, will you do it?" I said, "Yeah." And then so I went to the meeting and they says, "Yeah." So the week later I went to London for 2 days, did my course, and here I am.
The rest is history. What have you got apart from Sean in the gym? What talent have you got down there?
I've got Sean, obviously, like I say, Leanne was in the gym. Obviously, Joe's just retired. Obviously, I got another lad coming through, Rossa. I've got a lad, Sammy from up Stoke. I'm talking to him, mate. This guy is good. He's another Sean, just a bigger version. He's really good. But like I keep telling everyone, you've got to want it, not me. But I keep telling him, mate, you're gonna kick yourself if you don't do something with it. Do you know what I mean? So for me, it's one of them where I go. You know what I mean? So.
What's his background? Has he got any amateur?
Yeah, I think he only had two. He only had two. Do you know what I mean? So, and then like you say, he came out of nowhere, just come to my gym. He sent me a message, says, "Oh, can I come to your gym?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's come, started doing a bit of training, and then one time I said to him, "What gym do you train at?" And he said, "A gym like I've never even heard of it." I'm like, "Where's the gym?" He says, "Stoke." I says, "Flipping it, man. What, you travel to Stoke as well?" He goes, "No, I live Stoke." I was like, "Jeez." So for me, I'm kind of like. I was like a bit of a chin up, like, yeah, guys coming all the way from Stoke to train with me, you know what I mean? So, yeah, so it's one of them. I went and got my amateur license. I got talked into that because I do a bit with the amateurs now. Obviously, I went to my first, one of the lads I've started from scratch, come out his first fight last night, round the corner from here, to be fair. And I think a lot of people were a bit shocked that when he says how many fights he's had none. They were like, "You're joking." I says, "Yeah, this is his first one." I think everyone was shocked. So I think he's one of the amateur lads I think is going to come through the scenes. I might start bringing him up here, have a little move around with everyone up here, show Jay what talent's coming out of the Leicester lads.
Jay will love that. So, looking forward then, are you going to build this into a big gym? Are you going to have lots of talent, or are you just going to work with a couple of people?
I'm just trying to keep it small, really. You know what I mean? I'm kind of one of them where I always say, like when I was boxing, I go to work. You know what I mean? Obviously, I work with kids excluded from mainstream schools, so I got my own little thing, triple skills. So for me, it's because I enjoy boxing. I always say, even like sometimes when I look back and I go for my own career, as you know what I mean, I beat world champions, I lost to world champions. You know what I mean? I kind of go, you look back and you question yourself, well, why didn't I become a world champion? And like I'll keep telling everyone, I'm a firm believer there's a man upstairs with everything for a reason. And I think my reason was to be doing what I'm doing now. Do you know what I mean? I think I always had that thing that I'm going to become a world champion. I'm going to have one or two defences. I'm going to buy two houses, live in one, rent one, and sit at home and get fat and just do whatever I want to do. But I think the way for me is this is what I'm enjoying doing. Like I say, I work with kids. I was one of them kids who didn't like school, so I'm doing that for myself now. I'm working with a few fighters out the gym, but I always say, even like I have people come into the gym, "Oh, I want you to train me," and I say, "Look, I don't mind training you, but as for a fighter trainer, obviously, I don't want to dilute myself too much. I enjoy what I'm doing. I don't want to be one of these that boxing becomes just a boxing. I think, if I'm honest, I think for me, that was another reason why I fell out of the love of boxing, because when I gave up work and started boxing instead of going to work, it just became boxing. And I think so. They always telling it too much of a good thing ain't good. Do you know what I mean? So as much as I love boxing, I think when boxing became my all or nothing, it became too much. You know what I mean? I love the bin man thing and then boxing and then going back and forth. And like now, I love being involved in it, but also I got other things. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, I got a family at home, so it's one of them. Do you know what I mean?
Randall, tell me a little bit more about this job you do working with kids, troubled kids at school.
Yeah, so basically, it's kids. It's called alternative provision. Obviously, it's called Triple Skills. Obviously, based in Leicester, and it's working with all kids around Leicester, even Leicestershire. Obviously, I've started working with kids out in Melton now. Do you know what I mean? So it's a case of not every kid is academically clever. Do you know what I mean? I always tell people I was one of them kids that wasn't academically clever, but I was always physically active. I always wanted something to do physically, and obviously it showed by coming away from the dustbins that it don't mean because you can sit there with a pen and paper that you're going to be anything better than anybody else. So it's like doing that with the kids I work with. So it's kind of that way of trying to say to them, look, we do need to do a bit of work. We do need to do a bit of education because we do need to go forward. But also that the idea is sometimes later on in life you get to that point where you change, your mindset changes. I always say for me, my mindset changed when I was 20. Obviously, my girlfriend got pregnant, and then it was like, boy, I need to do something about it. And then that's when the boxing came about, because obviously my uncle Sticky, who obviously passed away now, he said to me, look, you're too good for collecting plastic trophies now in the amateur game, Randell, go pro. And I was like, well, where are you going to take me? And obviously he brought me here, and the rest is history again. So I think sometimes it's about trying to be a role model to the youth of today, to say that just because you're not an A-star student or a C student, or you can't sit down in a classroom for an amount of time, that you can't progress and end up with something better in life. Because so that was one of the things I used to do. And even while I was fighting, I used to go into a lot of schools and do talks about where I came from, my background, and how I didn't like school and finding sitting in classrooms boring. Do you know what I mean? So to be doing something for myself now like this, I'm happy. Do you know what I mean?
Respect for you for this, Randell, because I see it. My daughter's still in school, and I see it in her school. Kids, she's doing really well. I don't know where she gets the cleverness from. Certainly not from me. But there's kids in that school that you can see the pent up frustration, because if you're sat in a classroom, you get asked a question, you don't know the answer, you feel embarrassed, don't you? And because of that, you then kind of like
easy to be the clown. Easy to be talked about. Oh yeah, he's been chucked out again. Look at him. And I was that kid. You know what I mean? You'd be doing work on somewhat on the board. You sit down. Copy that off the board. You start writing. Look back at the board. The thing's gone. And you're like, well, you took it off. What do you want me to do? Start talking to the person next to you. Chuck the pencil around. Get chucked out of the class. Start windows through the. You know what I mean? Through the window. You know what I mean? It's more entertaining. Do you know what I mean? So you're not classed as the bad kid, but to everyone else, you're classed as the bad kid. Is the schools you're classed as a bad kid? Do you know what I mean? But like I say, I've got some kids that have been working with me over the last I've been doing triple skills since I stopped boxing, so 10 years, and I've got some kids who've gone on to become, you know what I mean, high standard working kids. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Obviously, don't get me wrong. You have some kids that end up going down the bad road. It's life, innit? We can't save them all, but I always say if you're saving 10% of them, you're doing well.
Absolutely, mate. Lots of respect for what you're doing, because you're giving kids another opportunity that when schools have turned their back, that they're not getting elsewhere. Respect to you, Randell. Much appreciated for your time. Thanks for joining Last Ball Boxing, and we'll have another chat some point in the future.
Definitely.
Thank you, mate.
When Sean's holding belts.
When Sean's holding belts.